Okay, here's another multi-step example. Again, we have our steps to solving multi-step problems over to the left here that we're going to follow to try to simplify this problem. So, starting with step number 1, I need to change my radicals into powers. Okay, so I'm looking for my radical symbol, and I do happen to have that over here in my problem. So I'm going to look at this radical symbol, and I need to change it into a power, or change it into an exponent. Well, remember, to do that, I take my index, and I make that my fractional exponent. So, if I focus on just this part that I underlined in green, I'm going to put that into parentheses, and then I'm going to make my index my fractional exponent. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite my problem and keeping everything else the way that it was. So this w is still down in the front, and then on the top I still have 9w to the power 3y to the negative 5. Okay, so I did change my radicals into power, so I am done with step number 1. Now, step number 2 tells me to eliminate my parentheses. Okay, so again, I'm focused on this little green area because that's where my parentheses are. So I'm going to take this exponent, this fractional exponent that I made, and distribute that into both pieces inside of my parentheses there. So I'm going to kind of show this work off to the side over here. Okay, this is what I was starting with. If I focus on just this part, I was starting with this and I'm distributing. So I have 8 to the 1/3, and then I had y to the 15th, and then I put the 1/3 on top of that. And I'm just going to continue simplifying this for a second. If I take 8 to the 1/3 into my calculator, I will get 2. And then when I look here, I have a power to a power rule. So I'm going to multiply those. 15 times 1/3 gives me y to the power 5. So since this part here in parentheses simplified down to 2y to the power 5, I'm just going to go back to my original problem off to the side and rewrite it. The top of my fraction is staying 9w to the power 3, y to the negative 5th. All divided, the w in front is staying, but I'm replacing this parenthesis part with the answer that I got off to the side right here. So 2y to the 5th. So I am now done. I don't have any more parentheses. When I look at where I am right now, at this step, I don't have any parentheses left. So I'm done with step number 2 up here. And now I'm moving on to step number 3. It says move negative exponents. So I'm looking through my problem to see if I have any negative exponents. I do right here. So again, I'm just going to rewrite my problem without that negative exponent. And I'm moving that negative exponent down to the bottom. Okay, so this is where I am now. I'm down here. And I'm done with step number 3 because I don't have any more negative exponents. Next, I have to simplify my coefficients. Remember, coefficients are the numbers in front of my variables. When I look at those, what I see here is 9 divided by 2. Well, if I were to take 9 divided by 2 in my calculator, I would get a decimal. And remember, this topic, we don't want any decimals. So I'm actually not going to do anything to these coefficients. If I had divided and it became a whole number, then I would go ahead and keep that whole number. But since this will make a decimal, I'm going to leave the 9 on the top and leave the 2 on the bottom. And I'm done with step number 4. Step number 5, use product and quotient rules. So I'm looking for my like bases. I see w's. They are on top of each other, which means they are being divided. So I know that I'm going to have to subtract them. So I have a 3 on the top. Down here, just a w by itself is a 1, so subtract 3 from 1, and I get w to the power 2. When I look at my like bases of y, They're next to each other, which means I'm going to add those exponents. So 5 plus 5 is going to give me y to the power 10. And this is going to be my wonderful answer down here in the box in yellow. And how I know I'm done is because, now you're right, I do have two numbers, but that was because if I simplified it was going to make a decimal, but I only have one of each variable, and I don't have any negative exponents. So this problem is completely simplified.